Hi, welcome to the ShopNotes podcast. I'm Phil Huber, and I'm joined today by John Doyle and Logan Wittmer. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the projects and tools currently on our workbench, as well as some dream classes that we'd like to take with other woodworkers. This episode of the ShopNotes podcast is brought to you by Woodsmith Plans. You'll find nearly 1,000 plans covering everything that you'd want to build, from furniture projects to gift projects, kitchen accessories, workshop projects and jigs, and more. Find your next project at woodsmithplans.com. John, what do you got? What are you working on?
Well, let's talk about what I am done, what is off my workbench, and that is the Woodsmith mystery box.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming.
So,
it really hasn't, though.
It's been a month. It's exactly a month.
Has it really been
Exactly
a month?
a month.
Holy
cow. If you have not heard of the Woodsmith mystery box, this was a brainchild of, was it your idea, Phil, or one
Don't put that on Phil.
Don't put that on Phil?
Don't put that on Phil.
Okay, it was the brainchild of someone here at Woodsmith that to clear out our excess inventory that has built up over the last 40 years.
Which is a euphemism for saying we're hoarders.
Yes.
Yes. Well, to be fair, we sold a lot of stuff, right? I mean, we had a lot of different products.
At one time, Woodsmith had a mail order catalog and kits and all kinds of stuff.
Sold
books,
project parts. Yeah, hardware kits, stuff like that.
And then they invented the internet sometime in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
And then people could buy stuff off of Amazon and everywhere else. So we kind of dwindled down that operation and went away from that. And we still had a lot of parts. So
And it's all been in our warehouse.
In the warehouse, and it's moved a couple of times. And so the idea with these mystery boxes was that if you paid $10 plus the $3.99 shipping, you would get a $40 value randomly from our warehouse.
Yeah, so whatever we could fit in the box that equaled $40, give or take, or trying to get a little over that. Mm-hmm. So
that was the idea. Like I said, we sold 2,000-ish mystery boxes.
And I think we had planned on like 200?
200? Couple hundred,
that would
maybe?
be a lot.
Yeah.
So, and we have one person full-time working in our warehouse that ships out the normal stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like
So needless to say, was
panic.
oh crap
That was
moment.
overwhelming for her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did get it shut off at 2,000, capped it there. And so we spent a lot of our free time the past month in the warehouse going through stuff. And it was interesting because there were some people that bought 2 mystery boxes, some people bought 3, 4, 5, and then the last one we just boxed up was a box of 10 mystery boxes. So it got pretty creative.
So somebody spent $100, $103.99.
$103.99 for a so-called $400 value. I mean, what I put in that box is probably priceless.
Yes.
I mean, some unique stuff. But yeah, we had a lot of, I don't know, what did we have a lot of? It seemed like we had a lot of music boxes. We didn't have 2,000 of anything.
No,
Maybe a couple hundred of, but we had some music box kits from plans that we did.
Yeah, with the little brass tumblers in them that make the fingers play a tune. Those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some
clock faces.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of different clock faces from clock projects that we did. Some kits for our box joint jig. A lot of knobs, threaded knobs, handles.
Yeah, a lot of hardware.
That kind of thing.
There are going to be a lot of people making jigs.
Yes, which is funny because we had that stuff in our warehouse for probably 20 years, and I've been buying that for our own use, not knowing that we had that the whole time.
We'll be working on something for the TV show, like this Meyer saw cart behind us, and it's like, oh crap, we need a threaded knob for something.
And we'd order it,
run to the store, and
we
get
had
it.
hundreds of them.
Who knew?
Yep. Well, now we know.
Now we know.
But now we don't.
Well, not really.
Right now, it's gone. And I think we even went through some of our personal hardware stashes and found some cool stuff.
There was a lot of stuff in those.
Back issues that people had. So.
Some books, a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah. So that is off my workbench, and
Are you looking forward to anything now?
I feel kind of a sense of loss now. I felt important when I was working on that, and now that's gone. It's like, what am I? Who am I?
Right, yeah.
So I'm gonna have a period of discovery and figure out
Soul searching.
Yeah, exactly. So figure that out, but we are on to season 14 of the Woodsmith Shop TV show now. So
yeah, we are pretty much done with 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So first one was
the miter saw cart. So years ago, ShopNotes did a miter saw station where you put the miter saw on a cart and had fold-up wings so that you could support long boards, but when it's all folded down, you could kind of tuck your miter saw away.
Yeah.
And like anything, you build something, you evaluate it. Some things work really well, some things don't work as well. So we made some improvements on this one and gave it the gritty reboot.
exactly.
So yeah, episode 1.
Yeah.
So what do you have what are you working on, Phil?
For me, it's some tools that I've been picking up here and there. A few years ago, in one of our previous purges, which if we knew about the mystery box, we maybe wouldn't have gotten rid of some stuff. So what I have is I picked up a couple of round planes, wood-bodied rounds, and they were in decent shape, which is why I picked them up, but the blades weren't sharp. And honestly, at the time, I was still kind of the idea that this is a curved blade. It's just
Hard to sharpen.
So had an intimidation factor on it. So I think you were going to be doing something on Video Edition on Woodworking Essentials, making a cove with a round plane. And I thought, well, now is the time to just tackle it. So I just went at it, knowing that, I've sharpened other blades before and it's just sharpening. So try it. If it doesn't work, try it again.
Yeah.
So I got it and I've used it a few times now. Granted, I'm being very selective on the materials that I'm using it on.
No white oak?
No. So walnut mostly, I think some cherry that I did. And I'm really impressed with how well it works. So that's kind of fun. And then the other one is I got a back saw, I don't know, about 12 inches long from you.
Yeah.
And on the blade, it says that it's sold by the L.H. Kurtz Company in Des Moines, Iowa. So a Diston back saw, looks like it was from a school because there's a stamp on it that says Board of Education. So I stripped the paint off the handle, cleaned off the rust on the blade, and then did some gun bluing on the spine to give it a little Bad Axe Toolworks look to it. So, and it's actually reasonably sharp. It could stand a sharpening, but I was just using it today on some walnut, and it turned out really well.
That's good.
Yeah. God, why did I give this to you? It's nice.
I don't know. Yeah, no backsies.
No backsies. Well, so I've been working through these planes that I purchased at auction, and I'm getting through them. I've sold probably a dozen of them on eBay and Facebook.
Sure.
Through the groups. I posted a bunch of them last night or 2 nights ago, and I was actually out of town for a week, so I didn't have any going on there. But when I was out of town, I was down in Vegas, and you guys have heard me talk about this the last couple of days, and probably sick of hearing it. But I was down in Vegas for a turning class with Jimmy Clues, and turning's kind of became my new hobby. I've been kind of selling these hand tools to buy a saw stop for my shop. Now I'm like, should I just buy a big lathe instead?
Oh, dear.
I know, and I'm trying. We have a lathe here that I use a lot, and I like it. So I'm thinking I'm still gonna go that saw stop route for my shop. But I brought a set of Jimmy's tools back. I really like the system he has, and it's not a new system by any means. The interchangeable tool handles is something a lot of lathe tool manufacturers make. So you purchase a handle, and then the tool cutters go into it and lock in either with a set screw or a twist release or something like that.
Sure.
I like Jimmy's because it's a quick release. So it's like a cam system, so you can lock it with a quarter turn either way.
Okay.
Which is really nice when you're turning something you want to switch between a bowl gouge and a parting tool. And I brought some of his tools back with me. A couple bowl gouges, a hollowing tool and a parting tool, and I also have a spindle gouge and a scraper coming from him. I'm actually going to be writing a review on these for Pop Wood.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. But it was a super fun class. Learned some. I didn't really learn much as far as turning goes because a lot of the turning I've done, I've learned by watching Jimmy's videos. So a lot of the stuff I did, I've kind of seen him do in the past, so I kind of knew the tool movements. So I didn't gain much in the way of turning procedure because I knew it. I mean, it was good affirmation that what I was doing was correct, but I learned a ton from a finishing standpoint. Because a lot of what Jimmy does is with coloring and gilding creams and stuff like that. So it was really fun to see some of those processes for coloring and, shapes and making accents with different colors, stuff like that. So that was really cool. So, and that kind of leads me into, I think, today's question that I want to give you guys is, if you guys could take a class or work with somebody for a week, living or dead, because I know John's over there eyeing, he has a good response to this one. Who would it be? I don't even want to know what he's going to say. But, no, I mean, we're all woodworkers, right? And I think most of us that work at the magazine, we have a passion for teaching people. And in turn, we like to learn. Sure. We all like to learn new stuff. So I get enjoyment going to classes like this. I've done some carving classes and stuff like that. They're a blast to go learn from a master of a craft. So, Phil, if there was one person you could work with for a week, class or just work side by side with, and I want any cheesy answers like you work with the best people ever on your day-to-day.
Low-hanging fruit.
Sorry. Who would it be?
Well, see, we were talking about this before starting the recording, and I thought of two, and I have a few reserves too. I think probably for a woodworking technique, there's a guy in Pennsylvania, Dave Fisher, who's kind of my woodworking crush currently for the past couple of years. Because
nice.
I'm gonna have to see what Dave looks like.
What's really funny is he's not a full-time woodworker. He's a high school history teacher in Pennsylvania, and he does carved bowls and spoons and things. And I really like his style. It's kind of inspired off of Scandinavian and Swedish bowl carving style. So it's not turned, they're sculpted and carved. He's got a really cool approach to working, and he's got
those are cool.
He's got some really cool stuff. So, and I think I like it because it's way different than the furniture stuff that I do.
Sure.
So I would really like to take a class or work side by side with him, because there's that aspect of not only the technique of making those, because he does it all with hand tools.
Yeah.
But then also just kind of picking up work habits, I think, learning how to sharpen, because he's using a lot of gouges and adzes and things like that. So having some hands-on kind of feedback of seeing how I sharpen stuff, because we've talked about that in the past, where it's like, it seems sharp, but I don't know.
Yeah. Is he the one that the chicken bowl shape came from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So just looking at his stuff real quick on my phone, it looked like he would. That chicken bowl you did was kind of in his style.
Yeah. So I've been trying to do some stuff with him, or in his vein, or inspired by the kind of things that he does. The other class that I would like to do is, I really like using hand saws.
Yeah.
And I have a few, so I would love to do the sharpening class with Bad Axe with Mark Harrell.
Mark, if you're listening,
because
come up to Des Moines anytime.
Right, and plus he's set up shop in Wisconsin, my home state, so there's a little bit of that in there, and because I have those hand saws, I would like to have them in top shape and learn how to keep them in top shape too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
All right, John, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say there's this old Jewish woodworker that's not carpenter that's not with us anymore that, I would have taken class with, my man JC. But that's not possible. So, it's funny that you don't say, the people that you work with but it is funny that we'll be sitting down here doing video and Chris or Vince or somebody else will be down here and showing something. I was like, whoa, I didn't ever think of doing it that way. You learn from kind of everybody else and because you always know what you know and you do things your way, and then you see how somebody else does it, and you really learn a lot and kind of add stuff to your repertoire as you go. But so that it is a good answer. It's corny, but that's one thing. But yeah, like you did that turning class, and that's also something I've never really gotten into was turning. So that would be something cool to do sometime, or just learning more about hand tools. I'm more of a power tool guy, so just that kind of thing. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about a class, because I don't know if she's done formal classes per se, but we had Nancy Hiller in here for the kitchen cabinet class.
She learned me that week.
That was an education all by itself, but I think working with Nancy, like through her whole process, I think would be kind of fun. Not only in kind of in her wheelhouse of cabinetry stuff, but she does furniture things too, and she kind of likes to root out the I don't know, offshoots of the arts and crafts movement and find those styles that I may not just be that familiar with.
Well, and she's a riot. Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah,
I could go intern for her for about a week, and then she'd send me home.
Then she'd kick you out. Yep.
Yeah. So
it should be fun. I think now, so Jimmy's a turner that I've always idolized, so it was really cool being down with him for a week or for a weekend. I would also like to go take a class with David Marks out in California. I kind of grew up watching David's show on, I think DIY is where it was at, DIY Network maybe, Woodworks.
Yeah.
And he does classes out of his studio in like Santa Rosa, something like that. And he has a very cool mentality as far as bringing art into his woodworking. So I think it'd be a fun class to take. Different. He does a lot of different patinas, different turn shapes, hollow forms, stuff like that. So that'll be next on my list. So Dave, you're watching.
Like you sending all these shout outs.
You sending me shout outs,
You're listening.
Yep. So, all right.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I had.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us for today's episode of the ShopNotes podcast. Just a reminder, you can find our podcast at our home website, woodsmith.com, or wherever you normally get your podcasts, in the Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, all the places.
They're around.
If you have any questions or comments from something that we've talked about on a previous episode or today's, please feel free to contact us through the comments on your podcast app or through our website, again, at woodsmith.com. Thanks again, and we'll join you next time.
This episode of the ShopNotes podcast is brought to you by Woodsmith Magazine. Woodsmith Magazine has been the trusted source for all your woodworking information for over 40 years. From tips and techniques to furniture projects to shop projects, you can find it all in Woodsmith Magazine. Subscribe today at woodsmith.com.